They had watched their father choose his new wife over them. They had seen the tears, the broken promises, and the long nights when their mothers tried to hold the family together. But now everything had changed. Christine had moved on, found real happiness, and was preparing to marry the man who truly loved her. To the world, it looked like a fairy tale ending. But behind the scenes, Kody and Robyn were plotting something darker, something that would turn Christine's joy into chaos. When news broke that Christine was getting married in Utah, the Brown family's silence was deafening. No congratulations, no warm wishes, nothing but a cold wall of distance. Sources close to the family revealed that Kody took the announcement as a personal insult. In his mind, Christine's wedding wasn't just her fresh start, it was her final act of defiance. For years, he had controlled the narrative, convincing everyone that Christine had left out of bitterness or jealousy. But now, her public happiness shattered that illusion. Christine was thriving, and Kody couldn't stand it. Robyn, as always, stood by his side. But not just out of loyalty, out of strategy. Christine's wedding represented something dangerous to her: closure. If Christine married again, it would mean the end of any chance to reel Kody back into the family dynamic that Robyn believed she controlled. So, according to insiders, Robyn began quietly feeding Kody's resentment. Every interview Christine gave, every smiling picture that surfaced online, Robyn allegedly pointed out as disrespectful. She knew how to push his buttons, and she did. Because a happy Christine meant a powerless Robyn. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, things turned strange. Kody reportedly called several of the older children, trying to convince them not to attend. He framed it as concern, claiming the media would twist the story or that Christine was using them for attention. But those close to the situation saw it for what it was: control. He couldn't bear the thought of his children publicly supporting their mother's new marriage. One insider even claimed that Robyn suggested they boycott the event entirely to send a message that the family didn't approve. Christine, on the other hand, stayed radiant and calm. She knew this was coming. After all, she'd lived under that shadow for decades. She didn't need Kody's blessing anymore. For her, this wedding wasn't just a ceremony, it was freedom. But freedom has a cost. Days before the event, rumors began spreading online about Christine's fiancé, with whispers suggesting he wasn't trustworthy. Fans later traced those rumors back to fan pages and social media accounts linked to Brown family defenders, accounts that had defended Kody and Robyn in the past. The timing was too perfect to ignore. When the wedding day finally came, Christine's daughters walked her down the aisle with pride. The ceremony was intimate, heartfelt, and full of laughter. But even then, the specter of Kody lingered. Cameras caught moments where Christine's children looked emotional. Not out of sadness, but out of the weight of knowing their father should have been there. Yet he chose bitterness over family. TLC reportedly offered to cover the wedding for a special, but Kody and Robyn allegedly refused to participate unless they were given equal screen time. When producers declined, they backed out completely. Behind the scenes, Kody's anger grew. Friends described him as obsessed, scrolling through social media to see every new post about Christine's wedding. Each smiling picture was another reminder that she had won. Robyn tried to console him, but her own frustration was showing. The family's brand was falling apart. The perfect spiritual family image they had sold for over a decade was gone. Christine was happy, Janelle was independent, and Mary was quietly stepping away. Only Robyn remained, clinging to what was left. And yet, in the middle of all this, something unexpected happened. Christine extended an olive branch. Sources say she sent a message to the family after the wedding, thanking them for the good years they once shared. It wasn't a plea, it was peace. Kody reportedly never replied. Robyn called it performative, but everyone else saw it for what it was: Christine closing the book with grace. In the months that followed, Christine's life blossomed. Her cooking videos, her travel posts, and her genuine laughter stood in stark contrast to the tension and isolation at Coyote Pass. Fans began to notice the difference too. While Christine's world grew lighter, Kody and Robyn's grew darker. They withdrew from the spotlight, avoiding interviews and pushing back filming dates. Insiders say TLC began rethinking how much longer the network could carry a storyline built on resentment. For Christine, the wedding wasn't just about love. It was about reclaiming her narrative. For years, she had been painted as the problem wife, the one who couldn't handle plural marriage. But now, she stood as proof that freedom, joy, and peace were possible outside Kody's shadow. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The woman Kody once dismissed as difficult had become the heart of the story, the one fans truly rooted for. And that's what stung Kody the most. For the first time in decades, the spotlight wasn't his. The show wasn't about his authority, his decisions, or his control. It was about Christine's redemption, Janelle's independence, and the family's resilience. Kody and Robyn were no longer the center. They were the cautionary tale. In the end, Christine's wedding wasn't the scandal Kody hoped it would be. It was the rebirth of a woman who had survived emotional manipulation, spiritual gaslighting, and public humiliation, and still came out shining. The same can't be said for those who tried to dim her light. Because when Christine walked down that aisle, she didn't just marry a man. She buried the last remnants of Kody's control. And for once, the entire world cheered. They had watched their father choose his new wife over them. They had seen the tears, the broken promises, and the long nights when their mothers tried to hold the family together. But now everything had changed. Christine had finally moved on. She found real happiness and was preparing to marry the man who truly loved her. To the outside world, it looked like a fairy tale ending. A woman who had survived heartbreak finally finding peace. But behind the scenes, Kody and Robyn were plotting something darker, something that would turn Christine's moment of joy into chaos. When the news broke that Christine was getting married in Utah, the Brown family's silence was deafening. No public congratulations, no kind words, not even a simple post wishing her well. Just silence. That silence said everything. Sources close to the family revealed that Kody took the announcement as a personal insult. In his mind, Christine's wedding wasn't just her new beginning, it was a betrayal. For years, he'd controlled the story, convincing viewers that Christine was bitter, jealous, or emotionally unstable. But her upcoming wedding destroyed that narrative. Christine was happy, in love, and thriving, and Kody couldn't handle that. Robyn, as always, was right beside him. But this wasn't about loyalty, it was about strategy. Christine's wedding represented something Robyn feared most: closure. Once Christine remarried, there would be no way to pull Kody back into the emotional dynamic that Robyn had carefully built. So she began quietly feeding his resentment. Every smiling photo of Christine, every fan comment celebrating her new relationship, Robyn allegedly pointed out as disrespectful. She knew exactly how to push Kody's buttons. And she did, because a confident, happy Christine was a threat to the control Robyn held. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, strange things started to happen. Kody reportedly called several of the older children, trying to talk them out of attending the ceremony. He claimed it was out of concern, that the media would twist the story, that Christine was just using them for attention. But those close to the situation knew the truth. It wasn't about concern. It was about control. Kody couldn't stand the thought of his children publicly supporting their mother's new life. It wasn't that they were betraying him. It was that they were no longer under his influence. One insider claimed Robyn suggested that the family boycott the event altogether to send a message that they didn't approve. Kody agreed. It was his way of trying to reassert dominance, even as the world around him was moving on without him. Christine, on the other hand, saw it coming. She had lived under that kind of control for decades. Nothing Kody or Robyn did could surprise her anymore. She had learned to expect the backlash, to smile through it, and to keep moving forward. For Christine, this wedding wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It was about peace, love, and freedom, finally living on her own terms. Days before the wedding, the drama took a darker turn. Rumors suddenly began to spread online about Christine's fiancé. Whispers that he wasn't trustworthy, that his past was questionable, that he was moving too fast. At first, it seemed like harmless gossip. But fans quickly noticed something strange. Many of these rumors were coming from the same social media circles that had long defended Kody and Robyn, accounts that often attacked Christine and Janelle. The timing was too perfect to ignore. Just as Christine's big day approached, someone wanted to taint the story. Those close to Christine say she wasn't fazed. She knew exactly what was happening. She had been the target of quiet sabotage for years, small manipulative tactics meant to keep her under control. But this time, she refused to give them power. She focused on her joy, her children, and her future husband. While others tried to stir chaos, she planned a wedding filled with laughter and love. When the day finally came, it was everything she had dreamed of. Christine walked down the aisle glowing, surrounded by people who genuinely loved her. Her daughters escorted her proudly, tears of happiness in their eyes. Every detail, the music, the flowers, the sunlight filtering through the trees, felt like a symbol of freedom. But even in that beauty, Kody's shadow lingered. His absence spoke volumes. It wasn't just that he wasn't there, it was that he chose not to be. He had made his point loud and clear. If he couldn't control the story, he wouldn't participate in it. TLC had reportedly offered to film the wedding for a special, but there was a catch. According to insiders, Kody and Robyn refused to be part of it unless they were guaranteed equal screen time. Producers declined. They wanted Christine's story, not Kody's bitterness. That decision allegedly infuriated Kody. To him, it wasn't just about the show, it was about relevance. Without his presence, the Sister Wives world was moving on. And for the first time, it didn't need him. After the ceremony, fans flooded social media with congratulations. Photos of Christine beaming in her wedding dress went viral within hours. She looked radiant, confident, free. And while the internet celebrated her joy, sources say Kody spiraled. He reportedly spent days ranting about disrespect and betrayal, unable to understand why the world seemed to be cheering for the woman he believed had wronged him. Robyn tried to soothe him, but she was frustrated too. The narrative they had carefully built over years of interviews and confessionals was crumbling right in front of them. To Christine, though, none of that mattered anymore. She had already won, not in the petty sense, but in the real emotional sense. She had reclaimed her life. The woman who was once dismissed as jealous and unstable had become the symbol of resilience, strength, and grace. While Kody and Robyn clung to their fading control, Christine was living proof that peace was possible beyond the chaos. In the days following the wedding, the contrast between Christine's new life and Kody's growing resentment couldn't have been clearer. Christine shared glimpses of her honeymoon, quiet moments filled with laughter, family, and genuine love. She posted cooking videos again, her trademark warmth shining through. Fans flooded her comments with encouragement, calling her glowing, free, and finally happy. It wasn't just support, it was vindication. After years of emotional strain and gaslighting, Christine had built a new life rooted in joy. Meanwhile, back in Flagstaff, the atmosphere at Coyote Pass was heavy. Insiders described Kody as obsessed, checking social media constantly, watching every update about the wedding. Each smiling photo seemed to eat away at him. He'd worked for years to present himself as the misunderstood patriarch, a man burdened by difficult wives. But now the narrative had flipped. Christine's happiness proved that the problem had never been her. It had been him all along. Robyn, according to several accounts, was losing her composure as well. Without the other wives to buffer her relationship with Kody, the dynamic between them began to fracture under pressure. The house, once filled with the pretense of family unity, felt empty. Their isolation had become public. They were no longer the center of a plural family. They were simply two people clinging to a crumbling image. TLC insiders began to talk. Ratings had dipped whenever Kody and Robyn dominated the storyline, but soared when Christine appeared. Viewers didn't want to see bitterness. They wanted to see healing. Executives reportedly started planning spin-offs focusing on Christine's new chapter and Janelle's independence. It was clear where the audience's loyalty lay. For Kody, this was more than a professional setback. It was personal humiliation. His authority had always been built on control, on being the center of everyone's world. But now, that spotlight had shifted entirely. The wives he once dismissed had become independent, admired women. And he, the self-proclaimed patriarch, had become the symbol of arrogance and loss. In private moments, those close to the family say Kody ranted about betrayal. He accused Christine of using her happiness to make him look bad. But the truth was, she didn't have to do anything. Her peace was enough to expose his chaos. Robyn tried to frame Christine's new marriage as rushed and performative, but the more they talked, the more desperate they appeared. Meanwhile, Christine stayed silent. She didn't clap back, didn't retaliate, didn't even acknowledge the noise. She simply lived her life. Every quiet smile, every family dinner, every shared photo with her new husband was an unspoken message. She was done playing their game. And perhaps that was what hurt Kody most. He no longer had control. Not over Christine, not over the narrative, and not even over his own image. For years, he had believed that leaving him would mean ruin for his wives. But Christine's joy shattered that illusion for good. In the months after the wedding, Christine's world continued to expand while Kody and Robyn seemed to shrink. She hosted family gatherings, celebrated milestones with her kids, and shared glimpses of a life finally at peace. Her laughter came easier, her smile brighter. Fans who had watched her struggle for years could feel the difference. It wasn't just happiness, it was healing. Meanwhile, at Coyote Pass, the silence was deafening. Kody and Robyn kept to themselves, rarely seen in public. Even neighbors noticed how withdrawn they'd become. Insiders claimed that filming for Sister Wives had slowed down because there was simply no story left to tell. TLC producers reportedly struggled to find a new angle. There were no more family dinners, no more plural discussions, just one isolated couple surrounded by regret. Kody's frustration grew with each passing week. He couldn't understand why Christine's story had become so beloved while his own narrative had collapsed. The man who once controlled 4 households now had no control at all. Not over his wives, not over his image, and not even over his emotions. Robyn tried to comfort him, but her own insecurities were starting to show. The life she had once imagined, a big, united family, was gone. All that was left was the guilt and the weight of choices that couldn't be undone. Then came a moment that said it all. Christine, always the peacemaker, reportedly sent a short message to the family. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't for show. Just a simple note thanking them for the years they'd shared and wishing them happiness in their own lives. It was an olive branch, a quiet act of closure. Kody never replied. Robyn dismissed it as performative, but everyone else saw it for what it truly was. Christine had found peace, and they hadn't. TLC insiders later revealed that network executives were paying close attention to fan reactions. Viewers weren't tuning in to see Kody and Robyn's misery. They wanted to see Christine's strength, Janelle's independence, and even Mary's quiet evolution. The show's future, ironically, now rested on the very women Kody had once underestimated. The family that was supposed to be his legacy had become his lesson. Christine's wedding had been more than a ceremony. It was a symbolic ending. It closed a chapter built on manipulation and control, and opened a new one defined by self-respect and freedom. For years, Kody had been the voice of the family, shaping every story to his advantage. But in the end, it was Christine's silence that spoke the loudest. She didn't need revenge. She didn't need validation. Her happiness was the final word. The woman once dismissed as difficult had become the heart of the story. The proof that you can walk away from pain and still find joy on the other side. And as Christine walked down that aisle, she didn't just marry a man. She buried the last traces of the control Kody ever had over her. For Christine, it was freedom. For Kody and Robyn, it was the realization that in trying to destroy her peace, they had destroyed their own.